And my question is about presses and tenure standards. So more particularly, the type of institution that you're at. So I'm in a teaching institution that may accept a trade press publisher for the tenure process. However, I'm trained in, in R1 spaces. And so I shoot my bar higher to university presses. And so my question then is, do I aim for, the tenure where I'm at, or do I start, just go ahead and go towards, I guess, university presses, just in case I make a move somewhere else?
I'm so glad you asked that, Dr. Nix. You publish to keep yourself marketable. So I think that especially some of my missteps early on along the way, which, a lot of people are like, why are you publishing so much? Why are you doing so much? I'm like, I'm trying to get out of EKU, because I was at a teaching institution as well, and I wanted to get out of there. And so that's one of the hardest things, like to jump from like teaching institutions to like R1. But if we've got the research behind us and the publication record, and if we're hitting those metrics that our counterparts and our peers like at our R1s are doing, then of course they can't take your work away. K-State or not, not, none of that matters, because your work is going to be speaking for you. So I would say you always, just do, we were all trained at R1s, right? So you just continue to hit those metrics that we were trained for. So especially because I want you to be able to be marketable. I want you to be able to, if you want to leave K-State, I don't want you to leave Kentucky. But if you want to leave, I want you to be able to do that. Like, if you want to do that. Yeah, absolutely. And also we have our own personal goals, right? I have aspirations. I would love to see, some of my work in one of these beautiful top fancy presses, one day, I would love for that to happen. And so the metrics that are set for me for my personal goals that, that I have for myself, not, based on what, somebody like P&T says, right? Because I was also at a place, like when I was at EKU, they were like, Kishana, you're shiny enough. Whatever you do is just fine. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Whereas when I was at like UIC, I had like, colleagues that were like, well, Kishana, LSU press is fine. Intersectional tech is cool. We like it, but we need to see Duke. We need to see NYU. Like they actually told me like the presses that they would like to see my next book if I wanted to go for full. So, a lot of it is institutional, your institution matters, P&T matters, but also like your own personal goals and, your personal, desires, matter as well.
I think Kishana put it so perfectly. We're aiming for the tenure that we want at the institution we want wherever we currently are, right? And so if tenure is your goal somewhere else, then you're aiming for their standards of tenure wherever you are right now. I was at Colorado State, and they said you don't have to publish a book to get tenure here. You write a couple articles, you get tenure. And I was like, great, I'm gonna work on my book. I'm gonna write the articles like as though I'm going toward that goal, but I'm gonna work on the book quietly on the side. They're like, you didn't write a book until after tenure. Every institution is different. I got here and they're like, look, plus 6 articles, and the press needs to be of a high caliber, right? It needs to be here or above in order for that to count. And so if I had stayed with what the requirement was at my previous institution, I would have been far behind where I needed to be when I got to this space.
Can I just only quickly add, same, I was at Gonzaga teaching institution, everything Catherine and Kishon are saying. I will only quickly add, because the teaching load is so high at those institutions, I would find a way to scaffold the book into your classes that you're teaching. So like the same ideas, right, into your syllabus, or obviously like adding readings to your syllabus that you need for the book anyway. I did a lot of talks on campus at my teaching institution to like get some ideas out there, right? So like use your time so you can work on the book on the side for sure.
And Kishana's point about your personal goals really matters. I mean, I didn't want to be at a big name press for the sake of it. I knew that they had some resources also, right? So some university presses like MSU Press, like UCLA, like some of the presses that we publish with, they put your books up for awards. They market your book. They send them off to libraries. You end up seeing your book in places because they have whole departments that can cater to that. And some smaller presses don't have that capacity. And so there's nothing wrong with the smaller presses. They're still publishing really great work, but they may not have the same capacity to market the book, to have the same editorial staff, right? They may not have to be giving the same amount of feedback, et cetera.